Righto, so here's the long and the short of it when it comes to Bulldogs, Cowboys and Manly over the next 2 weeks, or more specifically this weekend. The penultimate round of the NRL is this weekend. It starts with North Queensland versus Melbourne. Cowboys, they just need to win to keep their home elimination finals chances alive. Here it is. Here's the trick of it all. If Cowboys win and the Bulldogs defeat Manly on Friday Night Football in that blockbuster emanating out at Accor Stadium, it means that the Cowboys will be locked in for a home elimination final no matter what, with 1 week remaining before finals kick off. So suffice to say, not only go North Queensland, but go the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs on Friday night. Go Bulldogs.
Round 26 starts on Thursday night from QCB Stadium. North Queensland host the Melbourne Storm. And on Sportsbet, the Cowboys are approximately $1.24, whereas the Storm are $4.10 outsiders. Let's go into the team list news now, starting off with North Queensland. Jeremiah Nene and Jason Taumalolo return, both to start prop and second row respectively, and it is Thomas McKaylee who misses out. The interchange reads Sam McIntyre, Edwards, Finafuiaki and Griffin Neame. Now for the Melbourne Storm, the rumours have become true. They are going to rest a truckload of players. So in at fullback though remains Pappenhausen, the wingers Jeremiah and Fa'alongo, the centres Seve and Tonamapia, and then the halves is Munster, and Grant Anderson is the halfback. The forward pack, Va'alepu, Wishart and Welch. The back row, Bradley, Chen and McDonald. The interchange, there's a debutant, Keegan Russell-Smith, Tepai Moroa, Atavalu Lesati and Tristan Powell. So to confirm the outs for the Storm, Grant, Hughes, Asafa Solomona, Katoa, Howarth, Blore, Kamikamitha, and Warbrick. And on the reserves list is Josh King, Loiero, and Nick Meaney. So maybe those last three names I just mentioned there could be a little bit of mind games from Coach Craig Bellamy. They could be in late inclusion. We don't know. But obviously the Cows, they are maybe the most full strength they have been this entire year, besides the fact for Cohen Hess and Zach Leibart. That's as strong as a Cowboys outfit as we've seen in a little bit. And it's an emotional night, not just for the prize that could await them if they win and the Bulldogs win on Friday night. Jake Granville will have his lap of honour up in Townsville. Kyle Felt announced that he's moving on at season's end. Just announced recently off to St. Helens. This could be, if we don't win, the last home game in the career of Kyle Felt and Jake Granville, even though Granville's not playing. It's the last opportunity. This is emotional. This is huge. Final start now for North Queensland, and the Cowboys are going to win this game 13+. Go Cowboys! And the bangers keep on coming, because on Friday night we have the game of the round and a game that really solidifies things as so far as the top 8 goes. The Bulldogs versus the Sea Eagles. The Dogs are $1.63 favourites, whereas the Sea Eagles are about $2.30, and that is automatically very nice value on the Sea Eagles. That's pretty big, actually. Now, going into the team list for the Bulldogs, Kurt Mann and Stephen Crichton are out, suspension and injury, and for the Sea Eagles, Corey Waddell is out as well. Now, going through it all, Jarrell Skelton is on the wing. and that pushes Carraz into the centres. And then the interchange for the Bulldogs reads Hayward, Moran, Hayes and Josh Curran. The Manly Sea Eagles now, Tommy Talau returns into the fold in the centre position, whereas Lehigh Hopewadi maintains his spot on the wing. And hasn't that young man impressed? He's not Rookie of the Year calculations by my book, but he's been very, very impressive in his debut season. And the interchange for the Manly Sea Eagles is Talatau Kola, Josh Aloye, Bullymore and Matthew Lodge in jersey 17. Must be noted as well that Tofafoa Sipley and Carl Lawton have been named on the reserves for the Sea Eagles as well. This is attack versus defence. This is 5th versus 7th at the moment. If the Bulldogs win, they absolutely lock in a home elimination final at the worst, because with results falling the way for them this weekend, potentially, they could be top 4 still, the Dogs. So there's a lot to play for them. And if Manly don't win and the Cowboys win on Thursday, then they are the away team in the elimination finals, or one of the 2 away teams in the elimination finals in week 1. Stephen Crichton did not play against the Brisbane Broncos a few weeks back, and the Bulldogs absolutely trounced the Brisbane Broncos at Suncorp. So they can do this without Stephen Crichton. But Manly are coming off a loss to the West Tigers, where they got complacent halfway through that first half. I think they're going to be stinging. And this Bulldogs team I didn't tip last weekend against the Warriors in New Zealand, they ended up winning. I thought maybe the travel would get to them. Well, now they've gone to Bundaberg, to Auckland, and now they're back in Sydney. And whilst it is a home game, I don't know if the Dogs are going to win both of their remaining games in the home and away regular season. They could, but I just feel like there might be just one more loss, and for some reason the value's there. And even though I need Dogs to win this one, all Cowboys fans need the Dogs to win this one, I'll bet you Manly get up at $2.30. Manly to win 1-12. The second game on Friday night footy is from Bluebet Stadium. The Panthers $1.14. The Rabbitohs are about $5.75. And for the Panthers, they get a little bit stronger, I suppose. Mitch Kenny comes back into the hooker role, and Paul Alamotti and Sunia Taruva return to first grade, meaning that Dane Laurie and Casey McLean have been dropped. For the South Sydney Rabbitohs, Tyrone Munro returns to first grade. That's fantastic to see that young man back, and hopefully he can re-impress everybody that he impressed last season. Tane Milne and Fletcher Myers, Jacob Gagai all maintain the rage in the back line, and Cody Walker returns into the halfback slot. And then going into the forward pack, Cameron Murray has been named at lock, but that is not going to happen. He has just been announced where his season's over. He tried to contest to downgrade his report, and he was unsuccessful. So Cameron Murray's season is over. Therefore, I do think Saliva Havili might start with jersey 13, or will start in the lock position at the very least. And who that brings in onto the interchange bench, possibly someone like a Liam LeBlanc. But in any event, Panthers losing to the Raiders in Canberra last weekend, they're not losing 3 in a row. Penrith Panthers 13+. Moving into Super Saturday, and the Dragons travel to CommBank Stadium to take on the Parramatta Eels, and St George Illawarra are $1.63 favourites, whereas the Parramatta Eels are sitting around that $2.32 mark. For the Eels, their team list, I believe, has been unchanged after their very nice effort against the Broncos at Suncorp last weekend. And then for the Dragons, it's the same lineup that they've named this weekend as they did last weekend. However, you've got Raymond Faitala-Mariner there, jersey 17, and you've also got Moses Sully named on the reserves list as well. Dragons, is there a team under more pressure right now than them to make the top 8? Maybe not. The Dragons sit in 8th, but they have a worse for and against than the 4 teams below them trying to get into that top 8. Dragons are only 1 win ahead of that pack, and this is a huge danger game. The Parramatta Eels are different at home. They have these spits and spurts, Parramatta, of really high entertaining footy, high octane footy. This Dragons outfit, though, I don't think anyone trusts them right now, but seemingly they come in waves, and if they lost last weekend, they're probably going to win this weekend, and if they don't win, they will be out of the top 8 by the end of the round because of that Brisbane battle for Brisbane game between the Dolphins and the Broncos. So I'm going to tip the Dragons here to keep their heads above water, literally. But I don't think this is going to be easy. I think it'll be 1-12. Parramatta are going to give them one hell of a scare. Speaking of the battle for Brisbane, Saturday 5:30 p.m. from a sold-out Suncorp Stadium, the Dolphins host the Broncos, and on Sportsbet, it's the Dolphins who are $3 outsiders. Brisbane are $1.39 favourites. And you wish that these two teams were a little bit more informed this time of year, but it is what it is, and it still is very much an enormous occasion because it is sudden death. The loser of this game, their season is over officially. That's done. No more chances. Now, going into the team list for the Dolphins now, their backline, besides O'Sullivan starting at 5'8", that is their full-strength backline. The forward pack now is Kenny Bromwich, Plath, and Nichols. The back row, Kofusi, Lemuelu, and Ray Stone. The interchange reads Teague, Keeley, Niu, and Donahue. And Tavita Pengai Jr. and Jeremy Marshall-King have been named on the reserves. That's extraordinary to see Jeremy Marshall-King named on the reserves. Whereas the Brisbane Broncos now, their backline from last weekend remains unchanged. Their forward pack reads Jensen, Walters Willison, Piakura, Ricky, and Carrigan. The interchange reads Mosa, Takura, Karapani, and Tapa'u. Keep in mind, Payne Haas has been named on the reserves list. Kobe Hetherington is the omission for the Brisbane Broncos. And I want to tip the Brisbane Broncos here. I'm not confident in any tip. This is a lot closer than the Dolphins being at $3, that's for sure. I want to tip Brisbane. I do. I will, but this game has got a sniff about the Dolphins causing the upset. But I'll go the Brisbane Broncos to win 1-12. The last game on Super Saturday is from PointsBet Stadium, Sharks versus Warriors, and the Sharks are $1.19 or $1.18, and the Warriors are $4.90. Oh, that's pretty big on the Warriors because this is the last game for the Warriors for season 2024. This is the last game for Sean Johnson. They're going to be all fired up for this one, but they were last weekend, and the Bulldogs, despite a couple of calls, they ended up winning that game 13+, didn't they? Going into the team list now for the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks now, and Sione Katoa returns onto the wing. Talakai is in the centres because Jesse Ramian has been suspended for a game. Daniel Atkinson and Braden Trindle remain the halves pairing, or is the halves pairing, I should say. The forward pack remains relatively unchanged. And the interchange reads Williams, Hunt, Hamlin-Uele, and Hazelton. Nico Hines has been named with jersey 22 on the reserves list. The Warriors now are Adam Pompey and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck out, meaning Chance, Nickel Klukstar will play at the centre, Tane Tuapiki will play at full pack, and the other centre will be Ali Leatawa. And the interchange reads Lasik, Ale Tavanga, and Dimitrik Sifakula, with Chanel Harris-Tavita in his 18th man. Don't know what the Sharks are going to do this weekend. They are just about locked in for the top 4. There's 2 weeks to go. You probably do want to put in one more good performance before finals with a week remaining. So I will tip the Sharks in this one, but at $4.90, there's a bit of value there about the Warriors. Sunday footy has 2 games, and match number 1 is from McDonald Jones Stadium. Gold Coast Titans are the away team, Newcastle Knights the home team, and the Knights, they are $1.35, whereas the Titans are $3.22. For the Newcastle Knights, there are a couple of team list changes. Kai Pearce-Paul and Tyson Frizzell are out. Therefore, we've got Dylan Lucas and Brodie Jones starting in the second row, whereas the interchange reads Price, Croker, Hetherington, and Thomas Cant. For the Gold Coast Titans, AJ Brimson is out, but Philip Sammy comes in. He will play centre. Philip Sammy, and the interchange reads Pahulu, Liu, Clark, and Haas. There are a couple of people that don't sniff it, but I'm sniffing an upset for some reason. I don't know why. I've got this feeling the Titans are going to really upset the Newcastle Knights. But then again, a name that I haven't mentioned yet, a huge inclusion, might be an energy booster, will be an energy booster. Bradman Best is back for the Newcastle Knights and he plays centre. Newcastle Knights to win this game 1-12. And the final game of the penultimate round, round 26, is the Sydney Roosters versus the Canberra Raiders. And the Roosters, they are $1.17. The Raiders are $5.10. Ooh, I don't know about that. For the Sydney Roosters now, Brandon Smith is in with jersey number 9 on his back. Connor Watson will also start from the bench in jersey number 14. This young rugby player, or not, maybe not young, but the rugby player Mark Nawaqanatawasi is jersey number 22 on the reserves list, whereas Joseph Suaalii and Waria Hargreaves is out. Therefore, Michael Jennings will play in the centre position. For the Canberra Raiders now, their side is the same 17 that upset the Penrith Panthers last weekend down in Canberra. It's a different game of footy, this one, but if the Raiders win, they're a huge chance of still appearing in finals. They do obviously have to hope on a couple of different results, in particularly Parramatta defeating Dragons. There are a few more Parramatta fans this weekend, that's for sure. But unfortunately, Raiders fans, as much as I want to see you guys into the finals, I'm going to say Sydney Roosters win this one 1-12. Yo everyone, thank you very much for the continuous support. I hope you enjoyed this video. Only a couple more weeks before finals. Oh man, where does this season go? It's been so quick. But thank you again, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you. Take care. Adios.